I'm Chris Erdmann, and this is Made of More, the show where we go beyond business to uncover real stories that shape entrepreneurs, leaders, and change makers. Every Wednesday at 8 a.m. on KKNW, we explore the pivotal moments, the adversity faced, the risks taken, and the resilience found along the way. This isn't just about what people have built, it's about who they've become. If you're ready for inspiration, practical insights, and stories that remind you that you too are made of more, you're in the right place. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening from wherever and whenever you're listening at. I'm Chris Erdmann, the host of Made of More, and today I'm sitting here with a friend of mine, Jeff Fisher, who's out of Bellingham as well. And Jeff used to be a professional athlete in boxing and also an avid football player. He's got a big story there from his past. Was also a security guard for Muhammad Ali and many other things. We're not going to have enough time to talk about his entire story today, but hopefully we give you enough that you're going to want to follow this man and just get reintroduced to his journey, his new book that's going to be coming out, and also a documentary. Jeff, welcome to the show.
Thank you. It's good to be here, Chris.
Yeah, thanks for fighting the traffic and making your way here to the city of Bellevue.
Yeah, it's beautiful here.
It is, and it looks like we're over. It looks like we're in, what do you call it? Airplane. What do you call that?
Like an airport tower.
Airport tower here. Yeah,
exactly.
Well, Jeff, you have a lot about your story, and I just want to start talking about your early beginnings. Is that okay with you?
Yeah, sure.
All
I'm
right.
an open book, so whatever you want to ask, go ahead.
Yeah, and we're going to segue into talking about your new business that's coming, which is called Battle Forged Fellowship.
Yep.
And that's what we're trying to bring awareness to that today. But Jeff, you're also an entrepreneur. You have NW Decks Plus, which you do outstanding deck work. And in fact, you did work to my new house. Thank you so much. Everybody loves the work that you've done with that black railing.
Yeah, thank you.
Hey, Jeff, so tell me before getting your early beginnings, can you tell me a little bit about Battle Forged Fellowship and what that is?
Yeah, excuse me. So that's going to be a men's ministry based on three things: discipleship, fellowship, and defending one's faith. And so what I've been seeing in men lately, well, back in 2022, we pulled men. Right now, 135 men a day are committing suicide. I'm really passionate about that. I've lost personal friends to suicide. And we asked men, I didn't do the poll, but somebody asked men back in 2022, what's the problem? Why are you in despair? And 76% of all men said that they don't have one person to talk to about the hardest thing they need to talk about. And then 15% of all men said they don't have one person to talk to about anything they want to talk about. They have nobody they can call for coffee, nobody they can call for lunch, and they're just white knuckling it through life alone. Mm-hmm. And that for me is what I'm trying to combat.
Yeah, wow, what a mission. I just got to ask, as a fellow man here, it could be tough even if you do have people around you to actually open up. Do you feel like some of these people do have people around them but just don't have the tools and awareness on how to start those conversations? Yeah,
deep conversations don't fit into too many just open, And I remember when I first came into Christianity, and we'll get a little bit into my story, but, none of my stories fit with normal Christian guys. And so I didn't know how to talk to, I didn't have anybody inside that personal circle of mine. But when a guy's going through stuff, nobody wants to be a downer. Nobody wants to be that guy in a group. And so to talk about the hardest thing you need to talk about, you've got to have this level of depth. Mm-hmm. And to get there is hard. You've got to trust somebody. They've got to trust you. And so, but there's great guys out there. Jeff Kemp does a great job. He was a former Seattle Seahawks quarterback. And he's got a book out called Level 5 Friendship that talks about how to create those kind of intentional, deep friendships where you can actually talk about stuff that you need to talk about.
Yeah. It can be really tough. I feel lucky because today I have a small group of men that I could open up. But I tell you what, it wasn't always like that. And it took, I feel like, a bit of training to get there to identify these people, like who are the safe people. And, as we've gotten to know each other a little bit better, like we've recently opened up a bit more. I mean, you're a pretty open book, but for me to open up to somebody else too, it's just like I've identified you as a friend and somebody that I could share those deeper stories with.
Yeah, I'm that guy for a lot of people.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I could tell. Yeah.
And part of that comes from me just being so open. I'm truly free. When I first came to Christ, I had a lot of secrets. I had a lot of, I felt like I was going to start on fire the very first time I walked into church because of all the things I'd done. and all the people that I'd hurt in my past. And so I've come a long ways. I had to do really hard work on myself. I had to read a lot of books. I had to go to a lot of seminars. I had to learn how to create myself. I'm pretty sure I was autistic, born, with ADHD and autism. Fortunately for me, in my 20s, I macrodosed on cocaine and MDMA. So I think that cured me.
Yeah. And we're not telling you to go do that, just by the way. Yeah. But that's just part of your past.
That's part of my past.
Yeah.
I used to be the quietest guy in every room until those days. And then I learned how to talk to people, and now I can't shut up. So
yeah, I don't want to say you're a chatterbox, but because you definitely lead with value when you speak. So
yeah, I appreciate that.
Yeah, I appreciate that about you too. Well, so tell me about your early beginnings. Where does this venture all really start for you on the Battle Forged Fellowship and this passion?
Yeah, so I grew up in a pretty abusive home. I grew up in a broken home. My mom and dad had me when they were sophomores in high school. And believe it or not, my mom was also in a pretty dysfunctional home. And so she was the oldest of 8 kids, and she actually hid me under large flannel shirts right up until 2 days before I was born from her parents as a sophomore in high school.
It just wasn't a safe environment for her.
It wasn't. And so she didn't feel like she could tell anyone. And I just found out when I did her funeral in March of 2023, her cousin came up to me and told me that story and said, I'm the one who ran into your mom and said, if you don't tell somebody, I'm going to. And then 2 days later, she had me. So that's how it started.
Secrets.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's how it started. And then my mom just had a bad picker. She had 3 husbands after that were all fairly abusive and fairly, she had kids. My family tree looks like a messed up horticulture project. So my mom and dad were each married 3 separate times, had kids in each marriage, married people with kids, married people that already had kids. So I've got stepbrothers, half sisters, mom's side, dad's side. But that's how I grew up with a pretty big family, but just not, I have no, real true brothers and sisters, but a bunch of half ones. Mm-hmm. And so, and unfortunately they both were drug addicts, both my mom and my dad. Mm-hmm. And so a lot of the kids, I've got a brother in prison right now. I've got another brother kicking methamphetamines. I've got another brother kicking cocaine right now. I've got a sister that's trying to kick heroin and on methadone. So,
and you didn't meet your dad till what? You're
5 years old.
5 years old.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he showed up when I was 5, made fun of the clothes I was wearing. Everything that I owned up until probably high school was a hand-me-down.
Right.
Every piece of furniture, every piece of clothing. I grew up very, very poor. And I grew up around a motorcycle club. And so my mom and dad were both affiliated, strongly, and went to high school with a fairly popular motorcycle club. And those were the guys I grew up around.
Mm-hmm. Those were your role models back then.
They were. And believe it or not, they had a code. Many of them were former military, just come back from Vietnam. And so there was a code of honor amongst those guys that I grew up with. And I felt like that was the code that was going to serve me for the rest of my life. And most of it did, and still does.
You've shared some pretty traumatic stories as growing up, and possibly I think which shaped you. Do you want to share some of those harder stories?
Yeah. I'm not, like I said, I'm free. I'm not afraid to share, because somewhere out there's people that have gone through what I've gone through, and if I can get through it, you can. And so, as an example, my stepfather would, when I would wet my bed, which was pretty often because I was in a traumatic household, right, with a lot of violence.
Yeah.
But every time I'd wet my bed, he would urinate on me as a punishment for wetting his bed. For wetting my bed, yeah.
You told me he would lash you and then drag you to the bathroom and throw you in the tub.
Yep, absolutely. Put my own wet underwear on my head and urinate on my face. And so,
can't even imagine. It gives me chills actually
Yeah, it was, when I think back, so he used to beat me all the time. He used to beat my mom all the time. He was an alcoholic. And so I had a big grain couch in the basement that was kind of the lower level of our house. It was kind of if I could make it to that couch, because back in the early 70s, furniture was very heavy. And so there was just a big enough angle on the back of that couch that if I could get behind that couch, it was so heavy that I could keep that couch between him and I. And he was so drunk that he would have a hard time catching me. And he would even try to smash the couch into the corner to try to, but the arms of the couch were curled. And so I had these places I could hide. And if I could get to that couch before he got to me, then my mom would get the beating and I wouldn't. And so, and then he was a gunsmith. And so he would always hold a gun to my head and say, or to various parts of my body, and say, if it wasn't wasting a bullet, you wouldn't be here anymore. And so, the beatings, the threats, that kind of stuff, I overcame that. But what made me feel the most shame was him urinating on me. And every time I brought that memory up, it would make me so angry that everyone around me would pay. And anger is the safest emotion you can feel when you, instead of feeling small or insignificant,
Right.
or instead of feeling lonely, like anger is the medication that men,
Because it feels like
drink.
you're in control at that time if you can.
Yeah, and anger comes with another component, which means you get to blame how you feel on someone else. It gives up accountability, right? So that's the other side of anger that I think that men, like I said, it's like a poison that men drink.
Right.
Thinking
So that anger allows you not to be accountable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you can have a scapegoat for exactly the way you feel and everything that you're doing wrong in life, then, and that's one of the things that I try to do as a men's minister. For every 1,000 guys chopping at the fruit or trying to medicate or just talk to men about what they're doing, I'm the guy chopping at the root. That's what Henry David Thoreau says, that for every 1,000 men chopping at the fruit, there's one chopping at the root. And I'm a root guy.
Yeah, you want to explain that a little bit more? Because, it's like it's the opposite of just taking medication to calm something down. You're actually looking for that source.
Yeah, absolutely. So once I realized what happened to me actually happened for me and not just to me, but because every man's identity is formed in 3 places in life. The first place it's formed before the age of 7 is your self-worth. And so if someone made you feel small or insignificant in that time, and many times it is apparent, you develop something about your personality that becomes your strength, becomes a part of your identity. And so the second part of a man's identity is created when someone makes them feel like they are unloved or don't belong in a group, like a girl turned them down or some kids tried to bully them or they couldn't be a part of the proud crowd or whatever that is. They develop, like fat kids will become funny, as an example. And so whatever you need to do to become accepted, that becomes another part of your identity. And then the third part of your identity is when you become self-sufficient on your own and you realize you don't have to rely on anybody else. I became a hard worker. I'll outwork anybody. And so that was part of my identity. What I didn't realize with my stepfather, I would blame him for everything that went wrong. And every time I hurt somebody, it was his fault. But then somewhere around 2009 to 2015, I went on this journey of self-discovery. And I actually realized that what happened to me actually happened for me, because there were some parts of my identity that I still rely on today, some strengths, if you will.
Right.
Yeah. And so
tell me a little bit.
Grateful for that.
Yeah. I'm glad you're grateful for that. And it's nice that I think it's a gift when we could make it to that point of life, is like when all these hard tribulations, whatever they are, I've never experienced those traumatic scenarios that you have had, but we've all had our own traumatic scenarios. We're all living our own lives, and we can feel victim and get angry, and at some point in time in our life, I hope that most of us or all of us can kind of turn that around and look at that as a gift that can serve the rest of our lives and maybe serve the community around us and the people that we care about, whether it's one-to-one like this or whether it's just by example and somebody seeing you in a scenario that you may never meet. But in 2009, can you recall or walk us through kind of that shift that just happened?
Yeah. So again, I'm a fruit and root guy, right? So, and I'm writing that's part of my book, is the fruit and the root and the seed, based on the biblical, platform that how God created us. And so I got asked to go speak at a church out in Detroit, and unbeknownst to me, the guy who I was going to, the pastor was actually my stepfather's son. And so
the pastor was your stepfather's son.
Yeah.
So the guy that you had a hard time with.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I didn't realize it before I got there. And his wife picked me up from the airport, and I show up to this guy's front porch. He's got a couple of choppers and a Harley sitting on his front porch. He lives underneath a $9 million church in the basement. And so when he opened the door, I was looking at my stepfather, but like 20, 30 years younger. And I immediately, first question that popped in my mind is, God, what am I doing here? And then secondly, I was like, how did I miss this? How did I miss the fact that you're actually my stepbrother, but from a guy who I've wanted to kill my entire life? Like, I just had a PTSD type moment before I got out there, where my oldest son was playing in the bathtub, and he was about 3.5 years old, and he's a mini-me, he looks just like me.
Yeah.
And he was playing with a rubber ducky, and he was squirting it all over the bathtub, and then he held it up and he squirted a stream down over his face.
And it kind of just like brought you back to that moment of
snapped me.
Yeah.
I love that kid so much I could eat him. And so when I saw how tender I was at that age, in my mind, I'm like 10 years old when this is happening to me. But really, my abuse stopped at about 6.5 from that stepfather.
From that guy.
And so what happened in that church that weekend was that he basically asked me one question: "Are you okay?" And what he was really asking me is if I was stable, because he could tell something was grinding at me. And I said, "Your stepfather took up my childhood." And I said, "But I don't want to tell you about that, because his mother took him away from his dad, and he was only getting to know his dad like a year or two before he met me. And the only reason why he knew about me was because he met my my half brother named Dave, and Dave said to him, 'Oh, my other half brother is also a crazy Christian guy too. You should hear him online, his testimony.'"
Oh, yeah, I'd love to.
And so, do you want me to finish that story?
Yeah.
So basically, he pulled me aside and he said, "Look, you don't have to worry about my relationship with my dad. He's told me everything he's done. When I said I wanted to get to know him, he said, 'Let's see if you actually do want to get to know me.'" And he told me everything he did to you, your mom, all the stuff he did when he was involved with the club, with the motorcycle club. And so I know everything about my dad. He goes, "But there's something you need to know about my dad. Then you're only going to be the fourth person in history to know it, and the other two people are dead besides me and you." And he said, "When my dad was 7 or 8 years old, he had a younger brother named Dave, about a year younger. And he said, my grandmother beat those two kids so bad with her boyfriend that the younger brother died a couple hours later of a blunt head trauma. Now, when he died, my dad got coached by them, and over again, they asked him a question: "Why did you play with your brother so hard? How did you kill him?" So by the time the police did arrive, my stepfather thought that he had killed his younger brother.
Wow. We're going to get back into that. So there's a lot to unpack there.
Sure.
Well, you've been listening to the show Made of More. I'm your host, Chris Erdmann, and we're sitting here with Jeff Fisher, and we're going to get back right into this story about his early beginnings. Stay tuned.
The more you listen to your kids, the closer you'll be. So we asked kids, what do you want your parents to hear?
I feel sometimes that I'm not listened to. I would just want you to listen to me more often and evaluate situations with me and lead me towards success.
We're not adults, so just be there and listen. I just want someone to yap to. And I just feel like I'll be fine if someone just hears me talk and talk and talk and talk and talk and talk and talk.
You're doing a really good job. And I don't think I tell you that enough. And I know sometimes we get into it and it's just hard on both of us. But, try to understand me more and I'll try to do the same.
Listening is a form of love. Find resources to help you support your kids and their emotional well-being at sounditouttogether.org. That's sounditouttogether.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and Pivotal.
Are you ready to discover remarkable stories of resilience and cultural connection? This is Diaspora, a show sharing the journeys of first-generation immigrants from the Indian subcontinent now building their lives in North America. Inspiring, insightful, and always engaging, Diaspora offers a unique perspective on the immigrant experience. Join me, Aditya Mehta, my guests, on the Diaspora Show every Wednesday at 2 p.m. right here on KKNW.
Smart Talk for Smart People. Alternative Talk 1150 AM.
Welcome back to the show Made of More. I'm your host, Chris Erdmann, and we're sitting here with Jeff Fisher, the founder of the new company coming that's called Battle Forged Fellowship. And that'll be coming soon, so we'll let you know how to get connected to that. But in the last segment here, Jeff was talking about his early beginnings, and he just unpacked something that just gave me a lot of chills, and where he met his stepbrother for the first time. And his stepbrother unpacked a story in front of Jeff that Jeff's stepdad opened up and told him that he came forward with all his entire life story about the abuse and so on and so forth. But then we just learned that Jeff's stepfather, correct? When he was a child, experienced trauma and was tricked, brainwashed into believing that he killed his own brother.
Yeah.
By his stepfather.
By playing with him too hard.
By playing with him, which was not true.
Yeah.
Do you want to continue from there?
Yeah, I mean, basically that's the pin drop moment of that story. And so what happened for me at that time was I had plotted this guy's death probably 1,000 times in 100 different ways. Mm-hmm. But at that moment, I forgave him.
Forgiveness.
Yeah.
You forgave him right there.
Yeah.
Did you ever go back to that moment several times to re-forgive him? Because I know sometimes forgiveness can be a process.
Not after hearing that.
Not after hearing that.
My heart flooded with compassion for a guy that I wanted to kill my entire life. And he begged me for forgiveness at my younger brother Dave's wedding. Mm-hmm. And I said, I have forgiven you enough that I'm not going to kill you. But to be honest, when that PTSD type moment happened with my son, it reopened it. And I started to believe that I might not even be Christian because of the way I was feeling inside.
Yeah.
And so for me to show up 2 months later on his doorstep and hear that story, it was like God planted me in that church in front of that guy at that moment to hear that story so that I could keep doing what it is that God wants me to do.
Let's talk about forgiveness in this moment. First of all, I believe, and we've talked about this, that forgiveness has more to do with us than it has to do with the other person. And I know of times in my life, and there will be more times in the future that I'll have to do my best to forgive and forgive. But I know when I'm sitting there in, call it anger or worse, and especially when I was younger, being hot-tempered and whatnot because of my own upbringing, which is another story that we could talk about, is to forgive somebody. To me, it feels like that I'm letting go of a sickness that I'm holding inside because I actually think it's holding me down. I think it's making me feel sick. It's affecting my thoughts, my energy, my well-being, and externally, it's affecting a lot of relationships actually. Because if I'm carrying hate or anger, that it's actually pushing people that I care about, usually pushes them away from me.
Absolutely.
Or even worse, if they want to join me in that, it's actually putting them in the same sickness and danger as well. And what did forgiveness look like or feel like? What was the process for you?
It was a weight lifted off my shoulders. And again, there's still people that I do have to forgive more, but it's probably because I don't know. I'm only we can only forgive people for the fruit. Mm-hmm. We don't see the root. We don't see why they're scandalous. We don't see why they want to steal money from you. We don't see why they, are trying to get with your wife or whatever it is that I sometimes have a harder time forgiving people for. Mm-hmm. I don't know what their story is. I just have to trust that God knows their story, and I have to trust him. And so he's always got my back. He's always in a good mood. There's a verse in the Bible that says, pray for your enemies, love your enemies. Mm-hmm. And when you do pray for them, it's like heaping hot coals. And I've seen it happen. I had a former business partner that burned me pretty bad. And I didn't win the war. You can't win a war on words, right? So I just kept my mouth shut. He took 25 of my top customers, told him I was out of business. It was a part-time job just to try to stay in business after him. And I sued him and won in court. But I still, it just made my life hard for a few years. I actually had a stroke about 3 months after that. I sued.
This was during your football days you had this stroke.
Yeah. I just played a minor, I was 40 years old, just played in a minor league national championship down in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. Yeah. And the very next day as a 40-year-old played in the All-Star game. So came back thinking you got it. And then 3 weeks later I had a stroke. And I was like, you don't got it. So
what do you think where did the stroke come from? Was it from the anger? What was it?
It was from a lot probably anger. We talked about this before, that how bitterness is like a poison that you drink thinking that it's medicine, but it's actually poison, right? Mm-hmm. And you expect, your anger to hurt somebody else, and it doesn't. It just hurts you. Mm-hmm. I mean, the more angry you get, the more control they have over you, and they're probably laughing at you.
Yeah.
And so.
Oh, and I don't want to get too far away from this. You said when you pray for your enemies and it's like pouring hot coals. Get into that a bit more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, God's after the condition of your heart. Mm-hmm. That's the only thing he wants. He doesn't see gender. He doesn't see color. He doesn't see nationalities. He doesn't even see your own sin. Mm-hmm. All he sees is the condition of your heart. And there's people that have hearts for him, and then people that don't. Mm-hmm. And he wants everyone to have a heart for him and then work the rest out after that. And so, you know, yeah, so that's as far as I can go on that probably.
Yeah. Yeah, no. And I think if you're praying for somebody else, maybe, you know, they're going to know that you're not fighting them anymore. They probably will, if they have a certain level of awareness, they're not going to sense that you're not going to fight them. It's pretty hard to fight somebody that's not going to fight back too.
Yeah, I don't know if you've ever heard of a guy named Jamie Winship, but he's got a great new book out called Living Fearlessly, and he actually transforms militant Muslim men to Christ. He's the only person that worked for the CIA that turned entire regions of militarized Muslim men over to our side without blackmail or bombs or guns.
Wow.
He did it with the Holy Spirit. And he simply asked guys to ask God, who is it that you say I am? And who are you to me? And these guys are devout, religious people. And so when they did have a conversation with God and said, God, who are you? What is your name? And God revealed that he was Jesus Christ. We're talking 2 to 3 million Muslim men have turned their lives over to our side without, without blackmail or guns.
Wow,
Consider that.
That's another story. I just want to say thank you for sharing your early upbringings and the story about forgiveness. And people can definitely, when they start following you, if they want to follow you, they're going to find out a lot more, especially that documentary and that book. But I want to get into more current events today. So we know kind of what are some of the things that shaped you and a bit about your path. But what is happening today inside of this battle forged fellowship and all around? Where would you like to start?
Boy, that's a big one. I mean, I'm at the bottom. At the end of the day, I'm still a construction worker. I've been doing that for 23 years. I work on decks, and I do obviously, I worked on your deck.
Some of the best, some of the best railings I've seen in a long time. I was actually almost going to do my own, and I'm like, I'm glad I didn't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but with what's happening with Battle Forge Fellowship, so it's going to be a nonprofit. It's going to have 5 tiers to it. The first tier is going to be an app for men where they can find other men. They're going to get groups of eight guys. And so we're actually testing it out right now with 8 guys in person. The problem with the 8 guys in person is that there is some anonymity that guys need to have in the beginning to really trust easier. So
this app, the mission of the app is to target men that are needing community.
Yep.
And then so this is going to be where other men like you and I, we can get on the app and read other people's stories and see if this is a good person, a good brother to talk with and start getting support.
Exactly.
That's the beginning of it.
It's just a place for men to hang out. So there's going to be lots of content on there. There's going to be all the best content out there for men. And so if you want to be, my goal is to be the best husband and father and best community member.
Yeah.
And 90% of all the pain in the world right now is here because a man didn't do what he was supposed to do or did something that he was not supposed to do. So think about complete and whole men that are great, the absolute best. They're fighting to be the best husbands, fighting to be the best fathers, and also community members, right? Like if everyone was lending a hand to their community, we would live in a different world today.
Yeah. And this is not about being perfect. This is about doing your best. And having
your best
and having good connections.
Yeah, and being a man doesn't come with a playbook, and so
no,
we're the only society in the world that doesn't. Like, how do you know you're a man? Aside from the whole gender ideology thing right now,
yeah.
Like, how do you know when you crossed over from a boy to a man? Every other society in the entire planet has like this rite of passage where you actually switch over from a boy to a man, and so
that's a great question.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So protect, provide, and preside is I got to give Ryan Mickler some credit from Order of Man. He's doing a great job over there. But what we're going to do is we're going to create an app for fellowship. We're going to do a lot of discipleship in there, meaning you can learn all the best stuff out there on how to be a better father, husband, and community member. And then you're going to also meet other guys that are doing the same thing. Sometimes just another man's perspective about what you want praise for and what you want prayer for. Sometimes that's enough. That you just need to know that your problems aren't unique, that there's someone that's for you in this world and you're not alone in it. And here, we're going to put groups of 8 guys together where you have one guy to check in with every day of the week. And so whether it's for 1 minute or 1 hour, it's up to you two how you want to check in with each other. But for guys that are going through loss of a child or addicted to porn or just, things that require a daily check-in from guys.
Yeah.
That's what we're trying to, create right now. So that's tier one.
So it's like men that are experiencing turmoil somewhere in their life. It doesn't matter what it is. But there's something happening, and we just need to connect to other people that are willing to be open and that have potentially a set of morals and values that they can relate to, look up to, and potentially want to model.
Yeah.
And it sounds like a group of men like this can hold each other up. Sounds like there's accountability here.
And it doesn't have to be guys in turmoil. There's also guys out there that want to share what they know, and they want to be present for other men. They want to stand in the gap.
Yeah.
And so it's going to be a combination. Every ship needs a rudder and a engine.
So,
got the young guys and got the old guys. You know what I mean?
Yeah, we all learn from each other.
Mm-hmm.
I was just in Hawaii at this conference, and the leader of the conference asked me to speak, and I walked up there and I started speaking about intentionally building community, and as a man in today's society, it may have always been like this. It just feels like it can be really hard to walk away from some of our past relationships and friendships. Not that you want to cut people off that you love, but when you start trying to work on yourself and you want to walk away from certain habits like going to the bar or going out and having a certain way of life and going into and trying to maybe become investing more, investing in your health, spiritually, mentally, and trying to better yourself by reading more books, and we start positioning ourselves in a place where we start thinking differently. And when we start doing a lot of these things, especially if you're doing more than 3 of these things, you're starting to really change your thinking, your psychology, and probably in uplifting your morals and values to a different standard than before. And when this starts happening, you can become a stranger to the crowd you once knew. Even though they're not strangers to you, you might become a stranger to them because they don't see the same person. Yeah. And then now it feels like, wow, you're on this island a bit. And you try to identify other people, speaking from my own journeys, try to identify other people that you have things in common with. And, sometimes it's easy to meet the opposite sex and gain relationships there, but I think those might be shorter lived for their own reasons. Not all of them. They could be wholesome too, but it seems harder to connect with other men and that are kind of aligning with these morals and values and then want to keep testing life, I should say, in a positive way, like trying to make yourself better, trying to reach new goals. And I got to say, there was a 2.5 year, maybe longer journey for me personally where I felt alone.
Yeah.
And where it's not that I couldn't call people and do things, it's just those things were not interesting me anymore.
Yeah.
And when I did soften up and go call to my past, I would go have fun and I would connect, but I would walk away often feeling like this is not the direction or the activities that I want to do.
Yeah.
And so it was probably...
Any feedback from your friends? They call it crabs in a bucket. Sometimes when your friends see you leaving the bucket, they want to reach up and grab you and keep you in it.
Yeah.
Did you experience some of that?
Yeah, I have, and I still do sometimes. And for many of those guys, I feel like, wow, I still really care about them, still love them. And I'd ask, where can I foster this relationship? And I realize sometimes I can keep these relationships because sometimes it's going mountain biking, sometimes motorcycling, sometimes it's going to the gym together or playing pickleball or whatever. It's like, wow, these are still things I like to do, and we can still connect there. But on the other side of that, I'm showing up to these conferences and showing up to these other groups where I meet these men and women that are testing life themselves in a similar direction. And what's interesting, a lot of these things cost money to go to because they're seeking the same thing too. So I gave this talk about intentionally building community. And I tell you what, I've never received so many applause or people reaching back out and saying, oh my gosh, I feel the exact same way. Or please talk to my partner because he needs to hear this as well. And it just made me realize we're all out there trying to find a community that can help us thrive. For me, help me thrive. I feel like there's a lot of us out there doing that.
Yeah, there really is. I always tell people, like, keep moving forward. The people that are meant to be with you will catch up to you.
Mm-hmm.
And I always tell people too to identify your friendships.
Mm-hmm.
So I've got the 4 C's, I call it. I don't know if you want me to get into that.
Yeah, go ahead.
But, okay. Yeah. I'm trying to remember now. Comrade, Constituent, community member, and I can't remember the 4th C now.
The 4 C's, that's all right. Yeah.
Yeah. So basically you have friends that like the same things you like. Those are okay to have, and you can hang on to those friendships. There's friends out there that your comrades, people that hate the same things that you hate. We saw a lot of people, become friends over the last 6 years over that.
Mm-hmm.
And so but those are also the most unhealthiest of your relationships. When you get together and you guys start to talk crap about somebody, or you start to complain about stuff.
Yeah.
It's super unhealthy, but you have friends like that, right?
Mm-hmm.
And once I tell you how to identify them, and then there's people that are just in that relationship for you, right? And those are what we call confidants. And so that was what C I was missing. And so the confidant is someone that is with you whether you like something or hate something. They're not there for any of that. They're there because of you, whether you like or hate anything. They're like, bury your body friends.
They're there they've decided your family.
Yeah, exactly.
They've chosen you.
Yeah, and then there's just community people. There's people that you have as acquaintances. You're going to see them here or there. Your kids play soccer together, whatever. You're not really ever going to develop a relationship with them, but they're there.
Mm-hmm.
And so when you can identify all of your friendships into one of those 4 categories, it'll change the way you see people, and you'll start to put people in those categories.
That sounds really healthy, and what a great tool. The 4 C's. Well, you're listening to the show Made of More. I'm your host, Chris Erdmann, and we're sitting here with Jeff Fisher and just learning lots and getting into his battle-forged fellowship philosophy. Stay tuned. We're going to go to a few messages, and we're going to continue here with Jeff Fisher.
You said you'd never buy your kid candy from the checkout aisle. Or forget extra diapers. And never give in to a meltdown. You'd never lick your thumb to clean their face. Never let them have too much screen time. And never bribe them for just one more bite. You say you'd never let them out in public without their hair brushed. Never, ever become a minivan mom. And you'd never give them your phone for a quiet dinner.
Calling boss work phone.
So when you say you'd never leave your child in a hot car, no, it can happen. Cars get hot fast, and kids can be at risk in temperatures as low as 60 degrees Fahrenheit. Never happens. Before you leave the car, always stop, look, lock. Brought to you by NHTSA and the Ad Council.
Hello, I'm Chris Erdmann. Every Wednesday at 8 a.m. on KKNW, I sit down with inspiring entrepreneurs, creative minds, and game changers to uncover the real stories behind their business. On my show, Made of More, we explore the challenges that they've overcome, the breakthroughs that they've celebrated, and the mindset that drives them forward. If you're ready to unlock your full entrepreneurial potential, Made of More is the show for you, because here we know you are made of more. Every Wednesday at 8 a.m. on KKNW.
Tech, health, politics, design, and more. We cover a lot on Alternative Talk 1150.
Welcome back to the show Made of More. I'm your host, Chris Erdmann, and we've been sitting here with Jeff Fisher with Battle Forged Fellowship, a new business and nonprofit that's going to be coming out here in the next month or so, maybe less from the sounds of it. He was walking us through the 4 tiers. We actually got into the first tier, Battle Forged Fellowship, which is the app, and how to connect with other men in community that have similar values, morals, and that can potentially start creating a good community for support. Because what we're finding is a lot of men today don't have anybody to reach out to, or feel like they don't have anybody to reach out to, lean on, talk to, especially during hard times in life, but even through good times in life. Like, we're all connecting. We found out we're all trying to connect with people that are healthy to be around, healthy to talk to, hopefully are there to build each other up. And a part of that, he was talking about the 4 C's of, what was it, relationships?
Yeah, categorizing your friendships.
Categorizing your friendships in the 4 C's. Can we spit those off real quick?
Your confidant is someone that's in the, well, let's start with the Constituent is someone who likes the same things that you like. A comrade is someone who hates the same things that you hate. Community member is just someone who's in your community that you're acquaintance with, but you don't know what they like or hate.
Mm-hmm.
And then a confidant is someone who's with you, no matter what you like or hate, they're there for you. They're in a relationship for you, with you.
Mm-hmm.
And so if you die with 3 confidants in your life, you've had a great life.
Yeah. Wow.
It's crazy that statistic is out there because it's based on relationships and not, your health or your bank account or, any of the things that you work so hard to get in your life. People work harder to get a really nice car than they do to get a really great friend.
Yeah. Yeah. I could see that. Well, these days I'm working really hard to really get really great friends.
Exactly.
So I could put them in my car. Yeah. So let's talk about the 3 other tiers. I'm really curious. So there's 4 tiers. What are the other 3?
Yeah, so the second tier is we're going to have a one-on-one coaching, a BetterHelp model where guys can get on a Zoom and get with a coach, and we're gonna try to collect data from these guys. And it's like, did this conversation move the needle for you today?
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if it's going to be a swipe left or swipe right, but it's going to be a way for us to pay attention to if there's one person in each group or one person in a group that's just not moving the needle for anybody, and nobody's moving the needle for them. They might be stuck in a posture where they're just so negative or something's going on that's stopping them. So we're going to have a BetterHelp model. It's going to be a Zoom coaching. Olympic coaching is who we're talking to about creating that system, and we've already kind of gone down that road a little ways. And then also in that second tier, there's going to be alternative material like books and programs, all the best stuff out there for men on how.
So when you walk away from that coaching, you're going to have something you can open up and do a little bit of homework on and dive deeper if you want.
Absolutely.
I think that's kind of part of the issue of coaching and counseling these days with online is like you walk away from it, you feel good, but the work has to continue.
Yeah.
And
so
so
have the tools.
Yeah, have some tools you could dive into. I think that's really brilliant that you're doing that.
Yeah, so then tier 3 is just in-person stuff. So once you've built this, because when you're in this app, you have some anonymity, and that's the other reason why we need the feedback. If there's guys in there who just want to screw around, and be whoever, we're going to get rid of them pretty quick, right? Like the other guys are going to sniff them out. You got to be, in order to be a part of that group too, there's 3 A's that we work on, and this is my ministry style being put into an app. And so for me to minister to a guy, you have to have the 3 A's. You have to be authentic. You have to be in action towards a goal. I'm not a therapist. I don't just want to hear about your problems. I want to hear what you're going to do about your problems. And then you're going to be accountable to me or to the other guys in your group. And so that doesn't mean I'm going to bring, like if you're dealing with a sin nature, say porn addiction, I'm not going to ask you every time I see you, hey, how's your addiction going? I'm going to talk to you about, really what you have is a deep well of intimacy that God put in you, and you're just looking for it in the wrong places, right?
Yeah.
So
you're it sounds like the third tier is in-person sense. Sounds like quality relationships to me.
Yeah, we're going to have meetups and retreats. And the retreats aren't going to be just guys hanging out, eating food together. We're going to be doing some deeper work. Yeah. And you're going to, that's where the stuff really happens, right? Face to face.
Probably some physical activities and whatnot.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Like kickboxing or.
Well, we did jiu-jitsu in the last one, so.
Okay.
Yeah, we did some special forces, firearms, shotgun training, and we did some jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
We did some pretty fun stuff.
I should connect you with Andrew Marshall. He's new in Bellingham area, and he's a really amazing jiu-jitsu trainer. He's opening up his own studio over in Cornwall neighborhood there.
Perfect.
Or Cordata neighborhood.
Is he a big guy like me?
He's not as big as you, but he looks dangerous.
Okay.
He looks dangerous. So yeah, him and his wife Kelly just moved back to the Pacific Northwest from Hawaii. So you got to meet him. You would get along with him.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
Andrew Marshall. Yeah. I'll be doing his jiu-jitsu class with him.
Okay.
So if you want to get in there, I actually don't want to wrestle you. So if you don't know, I'm 5'7", about 200 pounds, in okay shape. Jeff's sitting across from me. How tall are you?
I'm about 6'3".
He's 6'3", and I think he's straddling around 200 pounds here.
Yeah, 290.
290. Yeah, I'm 290. Through almost around 300 pounds there. So yeah, we're gonna have to find somebody else for you to fight. Yeah.
I'm a lover, not a fighter now.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad. That sounds more enjoyable. So what's tier 4?
Tier 4 is we want to fill up stadiums with men, bring out alpha male speakers, and then at the end of the event, we'll have a QR code. Obviously, the stadium events are going to be invite from guys that are already in our group that want to come and hear alpha male speakers speak, and then they will have a QR code where they can get into our app and get some fellowship and get some discipleship and some what I call faith defense stuff.
That sounds great.
Yeah.
And how long were these? What does this event look like? Like, is it going to be 1 day, 2 days?
Just a 1 day. Yeah.
1 day.
Just a 1 day, maybe a few hours. Pay tickets to come see guys like Jocko Willink or something, and hear their story and how it relates. And I think what's missing with men right now is they feel like vulnerability is a weakness. And I'm not a huge Brene Brown fan, but I do read her books because she's smarter than me. And so, she talks about vulnerability as a strength.
Yeah.
And there's some meat to that in men. I think that's the ultimate strength, is when you can let your guard down, let another guy in, and hey, listen, not every guy is going to have your best interest in mind. But like I said, I'm free. I don't care. I'm an open book. I talk about all the crimes I've committed, and that's part of what's going to be in my book and in my documentary is, I've heard a lot of people, I've done a lot of things. It's easy for me to walk into a room and be humble.
I'm looking forward to that documentary, by the way. Clarito, over at IAJ Media, he's shooting your documentary, isn't he? Yeah. Shout out to Clarito. Yeah. How'd you like working with him?
He's amazing.
Yeah.
And how I connected with him is his son is one of the guys that came to me.
Oh, really?
And he said, yeah. And I actually I was so enamored by his son that I actually hired him to work for me back when I only had 1 or 2 guys. And so led him to Christ, and Cleator ended up following later. So got a great relationship with him now.
Yeah. What a great family.
And he's the one who's been pushing me to get my story out. He's like, man, your story is incredible.
Yeah. That doesn't surprise me.
About it.
Yeah. He recognizes a good story. That's for sure.
Yeah.
All right. So, and then I imagine that these 1 day events, you get these powerful speakers. I'm going to want to go to one of these events for sure. And that this is where a great opportunity to network and meet other people that the same interests. I mean, this is where relationships are actually built.
Yeah.
Every great conference that I've been to, especially when it's a big deal on mindset and growth, I've walked away usually with at least 2 or 3 lifelong friendships.
Yeah.
Where I could look back and I'm like, wow. In fact, this last one, I feel like I walked away with 12.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now the retreats are designed to do that too, to have some battle brothers, and some, we've got a little bit of a, we really want to get guys prepared. We feel like every guy should have some kind of defense, like, 6 months worth. I don't want to call them preppers, but some preparation. I mean, we live in the Northwest where we're waiting for the not if, but when 9-point earthquake, you know what I mean? And so if our port goes down, our grocery stores have about 3 days worth of food in them. And so guys should have, if men should be prepared. They should have 3 to 6 months worth of emergency food. They should know how to create water.
Finances for 3 to 6 months at least or more.
Yeah. They should know how to defend their house and defend, their family. And so we're going to be doing a lot of hand-to-hand stuff, a lot of knife fighting stuff, some small firearms training, the stuff that works in the street.
It sounds good. It sounds brilliant. Yeah, I'm excited. We're getting close to nearing the end here. So a couple questions one is, the show is called Made of More. You're here because I recognize you've been through a lot. You've dug in and you've shown yourself and your community that you're made of more than your circumstances. Yep. But I want to hear from you. What does the term made of more mean to you?
I think that every man has a seed of greatness put in him. But then, we're only born with 2 fears, fear of heights and fear of loud noises. Every other fear after that has been learned. And so me being a big God guy, I think that the only thing that separates from God is a lie that we believe from the enemy about ourselves. And so most guys out there don't become successful in life because they shoot high and end up somewhere in the middle. I think they shoot too low and hit it. And so for me, made of more means, what's possible for me? Like, I wake up every day and say, I don't have any limitations. You can't limit me by my past. You can't limit me by my situation, like you said. And I'm just opening up that challenge to all men. Like, what can you do? How can you make an impact on your community? How can you become a better father, a better husband?
I think that's wonderful. That's a big explanation there. And I think thank you. Second question. I know you're about to unroll some stuff here that's a little bit newer, but this is years, if not decades in the making.
Yeah, 13 years.
13 years, yeah, in the making, yeah, and it's all coming together. How do you want people to find you?
Right now, I just have an email until we get the nonprofit set up. My email is bigfish98226@gmail. And for right now, I mean, if you want me to come work on your deck, we can do that. We're focusing.
I recommend them. Come look at my deck.
We're one of the last deck waterproofers in Puget Sound that can do huge, apartment projects. We're Timber Tech partners. We fabricate our own aluminum railing, and so we're really good at what we do. I've got like 14 really great guys working for me, and they're hard workers and great guys.
And he shows up when he says he's going to show up.
I do. You were one of my clients. It's like,
yeah.
3 different installations for one job, but
yeah. Well, I really appreciate it. It was a few steps there.
Yeah, for sure.
Yes. All right. So they could email you. Want to repeat that email one more time?
Yeah, bigfish98226, which is the Bellingham zip code, @gmail. That's how most people get a hold of me right now.
Yeah. Get a hold of them like that. Also, in the future, I'm sure you're going to be able to Google or put into ChatGPT Battle Forged Fellowship, and also add Jeff Fisher's name in there. His contact info here soon enough will be rolling out when you put that in.
Yeah. Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah. Well, when's this documentary coming out?
I think the end of February is when he's aiming for.
End of February. All right.
They're finding they've got all the content put together. They're trying to find, or they're like doing the replay or whatever. The production part of it right now.
Yeah, I saw a little bit of the snippets that you gave me. It looks like it's really well done.
Yeah. Well, he does great work.
Yeah, Clarito IAJ Media, right? Okay, we got 2 more minutes here. Well, if you don't see it here in a couple weeks, start emailing Clarito and ask him where Jeff's stuff's at. So
where it is,
yeah. And then also, you have a book coming out.
Yeah, it's gonna be called Felonies to Fruitfulness.
Felonies to Fruitfulness, and this is a book on your life.
Yeah, and it goes deep and dark. It was ghostwritten by a cop, Adam Davis. I'll give a shout out to him. He's a fantastic ghostwriter. He's ghostwritten over 100 books, and he's an incredible interviewer. And he was a former hostage negotiator and cop out of Alabama, where cops are really cops.
Yeah.
And so, he's the one who ghostwrote my book for me, and he literally didn't let me leave out any details. He really got into the meat of it.
Wow.
Like some of my, worst crimes I've committed, some of the worst abuse I've gone through.
Yeah. Some of the best ways that you've been helping others.
Yeah. And we did try to include quite a bit of stuff. Like, it's not just what I went through, but how I got past it, So I had this thing inside of me that I had to deal with, anger, for example. And so there's a lot of life lessons in the book as well.
Oh, I can't wait for both those to come out, the documentary. And what's the documentary going to be called?
I don't know what he's calling that, but the movie is called Lion Amongst Mules.
Lions Amongst
From my drug smuggling days, yeah. So
this sounds really exciting. Sounds like it could be a Netflix original.
Yeah.
Or Amazon original there. Well, Jeff, I just want to shake your hand and just say thanks so much for coming out here today, driving all this way. I know I've been encouraging you a few times to come out because I think that you're doing great things for the community and much greater things to come. And I hope this podcast radio show has a little bit of impact of bringing people to your community.
Sweet.
So I appreciate you. Thanks for taking this time today.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks for tuning into this episode of Made of More on KKNW. Whether you're on the road, at the office, or listening from home, keep chasing what lights you up, keep building what matters, and never settle for less than the life you were made for. You are made of more. More purpose, more impact, more joy. Made of More is part of the Speaking Current network of shows and podcasts, all of which that are dedicated to inspiring listeners to build lives of meaning, connection, and value. You can find the Speaking Current network of shows, including Made of More, wherever you get your podcasts. You can also find us on YouTube. Until next Wednesday at 8 a.m. on KKNW, I'm Chris Erdmann. Stay bold, stay inspired, and stay made of more.